Sean Baker,
Present.
Kim Faithful,
Present.
Debbie Marker,
Present.
Andrew Smith,
Present.
all are present.
We are going to kick it off. I know we have a lot going on over at the high school tonight for all of our youth, which to me is exciting. I love it. So we're going to move through some things pretty quickly to get some of these kiddos out of here and some of our administrators as well. First up, we are going to have student celebrations, and we have the Early Learning Center.
Well, we have the handsome Mr. Luke Huskisson with us tonight. He is our January Student of the Month. And Luke, like his big sisters, is a very good example of just our youngest knights. Miss Olivia says Luke is such a gentleman. He is kind to all of his friends and his teachers. He loves to step in and be someone's friend when they need someone to play with. He sets a great example to all of his peers and has the sweetest smile and personality. Luke loves the color blue, and his favorite thing about school is playing blocks and cars with his friends. And what do you want to be when you grow up, Luke? A firefighter or a police officer. And his favorite food is mac and cheese. So congratulations, Luke.
You come give all of us a high five.
Give him a high five with knuckles.
Do you like high fives or fist bumps? High fives? Good job.
Good job.
Good job, Bob.
Good job.
Good job, buddy. Can you come out around that way and come in this for us? Come this way then. We have a plaque and everything for you. Good job. Right over here. A little bit more. Can you hold that for me? I'll let you be here. I don't. There. Big smile. Show me smile. Say cheese. There you go. Thank you. It's so good. Yeah. For sure. Say cheese a moment. No, put it down. There's a cheese. That's so cool. Congratulations.
Good job, buddy.
Next we'll go into elementary.
You guys get to hear from me twice tonight. Mrs. Stevenson couldn't be here, so she asked me to introduce the lovely Miss Annabella Shepherd. Annabella is in the first grade, and Annabella shows belonging through being involved in cheer and helping her teacher in the classroom, and she also plays baseball. She grows because she eats healthy, she gets a good night's sleep, and she works hard every day. This is true. I know this to be true about Annabella. And she contributes because she always gives her best effort. She's kind towards others, and she's always willing to help. So things that Annabella loves: playing with her baby brother, playing with her sister, and Christmas. I love that you love Christmas. I love that too. Her favorite food is spaghetti. Her favorite color is pink, and she loves to read. Annabella is such a light to all around her. She is always willing to jump in and help others, and she is a kind friend to all. She is always a good role model to her classmates by listening to directions, participating in class, and putting her best effort into everything she does. She always takes her time to make sure her work is neat and organized. And if someone needs help, she is always one of the first to volunteer to help. She has the classroom routines and procedures down to a T, and shows this during inside recess because she loves to play teacher, and she will read to the other students, making sure they follow all the normal classroom rules. Her kind and caring nature is an asset to both our classroom and the school as a whole. Annabella's teacher says she's so proud of her hard work and growth so far this year, and she can't wait to see all the future has in store for her. I always said this too when I had Annabella, I could miss a day and Annabella could run the class, no problem. So congratulations, Annabella.
Go around this way.
A couple more quick before it's not gonna. Thank you. Good job, Annabella. Good job. All right. We will go into middle school.
Okay, yeah. So my student, Colton Kettering, is up at Randolph Southern for the 6th grade basketball game. So they could not make it, but hot off the press, Colton is a true example of a middle school noble knight. He comes to school every day with a positive attitude, prepared and ready to learn. Within the classroom, he challenges himself and is engaged in each lesson. Outside the classroom, he is constantly displays outstanding character. You can see the different ways he belongs, grows, and contributes, as well as his favorite color is pink, his favorite food is chicken, and his favorite subject is math. He obviously loves sports too. So he was sorry he couldn't come, and his parents were very appreciative.
We do have some activities going on this evening at the middle school and high school. So I'm going to have Mr. Hickey go ahead and give his board update.
So the first one on my update was the girls basketball team is recognizing their youth participants tonight. So I'm going to go and see them at halftime. 6th grade teachers last week started a iRead mini PD session during their team time, and then we gave them their SRT time so they could work with a person from iReady to learn the new enhancements of the program so they could use them this semester. So 6th grade did that last week, and then 7th and 8th grade are doing that this week. And then I had basketball updates in there. The boys are 7th grade are 6-4, while 8th grade are 7-3, and the 7th grade girls are 8-1, while the 7th grade or 8th grade girls are 3-5. Addie Spurlock, an 8th grade student, member of the Girls Inc. Wayne County Leadership Development Group, has been invited to the State House in February for the Day of Advocacy. So we're excited for her. And then also, I missed it last month. I wanted to recognize and shout out to our counselors at all 3 buildings, as well as Mrs. Highway, for doing the holiday boxes and Christmas gifts for families. So that is what I have.
Thank you. Do you want to take Colton's with you?
Yes.
And then get a picture? And if you want to go through and give all of us a high five.
Yeah, I can get that picture too.
Thank you.
All right, high school.
So unfortunately, Miss McCombs came up and she's going to present tonight, so I get to stand here.
So the ag department chose Kaylee Perry as our high school student of the month. And so Kaylee contributes to belonging at Northeastern High School by bringing a unique perspective to all of her classes. She is always willing to help out with a teacher or other students in my classroom. She does this by sitting next to students and helping them work on the assignments to help them stay more focused. She's also one of the very first students to always volunteer with classroom tasks, whether that's passing out papers, just helping other students, giving other examples when we're doing group discussions. And so she's also a member of the Northeastern FFA chapter and the archery team. Kaylee grows, so she sees herself growing at NHS by learning new skills that will help her with her future career, which is welding. She hopes to use these skills and knowledge not only to make her a proficient welder, but also a better person. The way she contributes, she brings a different perspective and new ideas within the classroom and the FFA chapter as well. In doing so, she's helping expand the opportunities that students have, making events and activities more accessible and enjoyable. Outside of school, Kaylee likes to go hunting and spending time with her family, and then she hopes to attend the Western Welding Academy in Wyoming after high school.
Bring in all of us. Get your picture. Hall of Fame up here. What grade are you in?
You got this side.
It's all right, because I'll seal it off Facebook later.
Very good.
It's always a better way. Sorry. It's always two. Congratulations, And then, so would you like to go ahead
Yes,
and
please.
give your update too?
Also, as we know, stuff week last week, with the passing of Miss Franklin, I want to compliment our community. We had, we found out within an hour, we were able to put a plan together to bring all the kids together and still dismiss with the help of the maintenance and a grief concert here within 20 minutes easily. And I'm talking from all the churches around it, they were very quick to come around and help, and anybody else, Centerstone was here. I would say we probably had 10 to 15 people within a half an hour here at the building to help us. And then they continue to stay. So I just really want to thank them as partners for coming out and helping. Our staff, our shout outs to all our staff. They've been there for kids. Some kids process it differently. And so there's been, my son stayed after school with Mr. Hornock for about another hour. Even though they were dismissed earlier, just talked about the fun things that they had in Ms. Franklin's classroom. So it's been good for the kids to be able to talk about it. I think yesterday was a tremendous show out of the kids I came and saw. And some kids were struggling to handle it, so I think there's that part of it. But they've done a great job, and our staff's just been awesome. Many of the staff have known and worked with Carla for years, said that we'll grieve in our time, but we're going to be here for kids first. So shout out to all of them. So this past week, I was able to attend the Chamber of Business Ed meeting. There's several upcoming events that are for our students. The Chamber is hosting an intern fair for seniors who do not have a plan after high school, and for juniors that are applying for local internships for businesses. We also have the Everyday Counts Senior Celebration that'll be on May 6th. That's for all of our seniors with good attendance. And then that's the chance. We've had several students in the past years that have won cars or taken the scholarships, so we're looking forward to that. I think the last 2 years we've had, for the top 6, we've had at least 3 in the top 6 the last 2 years in a row. So, and those are a minimum of $500 that the kids walk away with and gift cards of some nature. We also had the counselors and I and Mrs. Cox had a great meeting with Mrs. O'Brien talking about upcoming juniors and seniors from next year and scheduling. We're excited to be creative and start working towards work-based learning and getting kids opportunities outside of Northeastern to really kind of give them experiences that that is an opportunity that they don't always see. We know that a lot of kids only know careers based on what their parents do, and so we want to try and expand that as well to juniors, so that way we can, if they want to go be a nurse and they find out nursing is not for them, great, they didn't go to college for 4 years to find out, or at least a year. So it's really exciting about the opportunities that we'll have for our juniors and seniors next year, and then working towards the new graduation requirements. Our girls bowling team competed along with the boys. The girls' bowling team was sectional champs, so they advanced to regionals. They play this week, or they bowl this weekend at the Rose Bowl in Newcastle. If you've been to bowling sectionals, it's an all-day thing. They start at 8 and it goes to about usually 2 or 3 o'clock. So they do individual and then they do a team. So we've had several girls that did really well with that. Our boys came up about 66 pins short, but it's fun to watch them, and some kids that you wouldn't think about. So to see them in a different light, it's always fun. Also, we recently competed in the Wayne County tournament. Our girls basketball team were Wayne County champs. And I think this is seventh year in a row. So they did really well. Some of the other wrestling and the boys basketball came up short, but with boys wrestling, I know it's a rebuilding year as well as basketball. So where we're at.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Mockler or Mr. Hickey?
Right, thank you. Go cheer on the kids.
All right, community comments. I have to offer this once, offer this twice. Alright. There are no community comments. With that said, I know there's a few left. I think some are speaking, some are not. If you would like to leave, this would probably be the best time to. Unless you want to stay on a little more with us.
I'm ready.
All right, so we are going to now get into reorganization of, oh, I'm sorry, I missed 3 administrators, 2 left, there's 3 left, sorry, back up. Let's start with superintendent.
Last week, I met with the Department of Transportation, and I'm pleased to announce that we're getting a stoplight at the intersection of US 27 and Wallace Road. I do not have an estimate on the date, but I can tell you that they have been out this past week. So if you've seen the Department of Transportation truck and the lights and things, that's what they're doing. They're surveying the area and preparing for that. So exciting news.
Very much. How much has that been shared, like within the community? Or how soon does something like that go out?
I need to share with you. Yes, I'm sharing it now.
I don't know how many viewers we have. How many, can you tell me viewers we have right now?
Let me look at that.
We just lost our whole audience. But thank you, Jennifer. I mean, it's been many years that a lot of people have tried to get that done, so.
So just thank
Very
you.
appreciated.
Yeah, thank you to the Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
So, Leah Melton is a high school student and a member of FFA Events Committee. And she contacted me about bringing back Drive Your Tractor to School Day. So I've approved the request and want to thank her for reaching out on behalf of FFA. And the date is February 24th, 2026. So they have a lot of exciting activities that they're planning and building up some momentum, and they felt like that it was time to bring it back.
How long has that not been happening?
5 years.
5 years, really?
I didn't realize we stopped.
I didn't realize either.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad
Yeah.
about it.
It still seems cold. Carhartts.
Also, there's been activity in the greenhouse. Our new teacher, Ms. Bogue, and the students have cleaned it out, and it's in the process of being revived. So I'm looking forward to bringing back some updates and maybe even a tour once they get things underway. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I received word last week that the Purdue, Indiana MAC grant that I submitted was selected. So we received a check for $2,000 for our manufacturing program. So they're planning to purchase some new tools and supplies, and as well as the transporting students to the different manufacturing sites. So we're thankful for that. So this time I'll have Early Learning Center give their update.
So it was exciting to welcome all of our students back after break, and it was fun to see their excitement coming back to school. So we just quickly settled back into our routine. I'm very excited to share that we had our licensing visit on January 6th, and we passed with 100% compliance. I'm very, very proud of my team because it takes all of us to make sure that we're keeping up with those safe practices and everything for our building. So I was thrilled to get 100%. And Mrs. K and I will lead the Lean and Grow teacher training, and we'll start that next week. And then we expect to roll that program out mid-February. And teachers are working together to prepare a Community Helper Week. And we've invited, Mrs. Moore to come over and talk to the students, and Officer Davis to come over and talk to the students. And we've reached out to a couple of firefighters in Fountain City to see if they'll come over and share. And we do have our preschool graduation scheduled, which is crazy to think that we're thinking about that for Wednesday, May 6th, and that will be in the high school gym. And we are really looking forward to our preschool Valentine's Day dance, which will be Friday the 6th at the Northeastern gym. That was a really fun event last year, and it was so fun to see, all of our little friends just dressed up, and they just had the best time just dancing and running around the gym. So we're really looking forward to that. Today we did do our 100th day of school celebration, and that was just a lot of fun classroom activities. Students had their t-shirts, and we did a class, a parade, and they showed off their t-shirts that they made, and then we rotated classrooms, and students got to do different activities in different classrooms, so they were excited about that. But again, I just want to give a shout out to my building, for the entire building, for everyone just working hard and being in compliance. Very proud of us.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Is the preschool graduation earlier than normal?
It's a little bit earlier, because, and we talked about that, it just seems as the May gets later, it just gets so busy with so many activities that we thought it'd be better if we had it. I think we might have had it the first week last year. But it just seems like it would be better for families because it just gets so hectic as the month goes on, so.
Okay.
And then elementary. Who's doing elementary?
I can do that. So elementary, they have rescheduled their K-2 music program. So the new date is Tuesday, February 26th at 6 o'clock at the high school. It says Mr. Day and Mrs. Stevenson have worked more on an idea of an NES choir. He talked to classes and did an interest survey, and there was a lot of interest. They'd like to move forward with planning an elementary choir next year. It says we'll keep you updated on what this looks like, but you can see the survey results there in Board Docs. They want to do a shout out to Vanessa Curtis and Bonnie Drake for working on their attendance policies and information. They have a better process now for communicating with families and having attendance conversations. iLearn checkpoints start again next week. And upcoming event, IU East is hosting a literacy symposium that a few staff members will attend. They're looking forward to hearing what is new and updated at IU East in regards to education programs.
And then for our last administrative report, we have technology with us tonight. And they're going to give us some updates.
Good evening, members of the board. Technology is a very difficult one to just give a quick update on. So I figured that we would just kind of go over a couple of the major upgrades that we've done recently. Just that we've successfully finished up the phone upgrade, which was a huge upgrade. It was definitely something that we needed to do. Huge benefit for the district. I'm glad that we were able to get that done. We had the camera reworking that we've done, which was typically just doing a total refresh of the camera system. And I'd say we're like 99% done. We have a couple outdoor cameras, but the weather is definitely not cooperating with putting those out. And I don't really think that being up on a ladder in the ice would be ideal. So we're waiting until the weather gets better, but literally a couple cameras will be done with that one. And that one is also huge because the elementary just did not have good coverage. And I know we never want to think about like the worst case scenario, but when we did have that scare, that was not an actual real event, thankfully. you couldn't look on the camera and see anywhere in the elementary school. So that's been taken care of. Now every hallway, every area of the elementary school has, the ability to be visualized in case something were to happen. And then I know, I'm not sure how much Jen or Mrs. O'Brien has talked to you guys about the Chromebook idea, but I did provide everyone with a handout that kind of breaks down more of the financial aspects of the idea of looking at Chromebooks. And I also wanted to just kind of give everyone an idea of why Chromebooks would be very beneficial. Right now, we do struggle with quite a few things as far as how iPads are not always ideal for kind of the security for the students. Between the idea that they're not able to be locked down as much as the Chromebook, you can't keep students from getting in other accounts like you can on a Chromebook. It offers so much as far as what we can do to ensure that the students are secure at all times. A lot of the third parties don't work with iPads as far as if we wanted something to alert the administration that a student's looking up self-harm things or that they're sharing inappropriate images. You really don't have those abilities with the iPad, and it's just because that's how they're built. Another thing too to keep in mind is that it's been really saddening, and I've only been here for this is my third year being here now, but I've noticed there are students that we have leaving our high school that don't even have any idea how to type. No clue. We actually had a student that came back looking for the tech department to ask how to use a laptop for college. So those things to me they're disheartening. I don't like the idea of thinking I'm 41 years old, and when I was in school, throughout middle and high school, I was learning how to use a computer. I was typing. I was very proficient in typing, and then to think now we've got kids that are leaving and haven't even had an inkling of learning how to type or learning the basics of a computer, really. iPads do have their place, but it really feels out of place in education. And I feel like it's becoming more and more that way, as I feel like a lot of the students look at it more as a toy than a tool. And I feel like a Chromebook, and again, there is no 100% ideal platform. You could say Windows would be great, but again, there are things in a Windows device that you're not going to be able to lock down as well for the safety and security of our students. Whereas the Chromebooks just give us so much more that we can work with. It gives the administration so much more that they can work with, and it gives us a way to hold ourselves more accountable on ensuring that safety and security of the students. And on top of that, there's the whole cost thing to take into consideration as well. Those costs that I showed you, they're not guaranteed. Especially now, technology, the prices are insane. I have never seen the fluctuations I've seen within the last year. Just since July of last year alone, prices of RAM has risen about 440%. That's unheard of. But that also affects those prices. So they may look okay now, a month, 2 months down the road, it's not necessarily going to look that way. But that's not saying, let's go ahead and jump on and try to do it right now. I'm just saying I want to give you as accurate of a price and expectations as possible. And that, you can't even get quotes anymore where you can get a 90-day guarantee. Now they're like, it's 30 days, and it's probably going to be different if you don't do it soon, which is understandable. But really, there's so much that I could go on and on drone about when it comes to Chromebooks versus iPads. We had Mrs. O'Brien had sent out a survey to the students, and we actually had some very constructive responses from some of the students that were like, I would like to learn how to keyboard. I have essays, and my essays are really hard to write on an iPad. Just things like that. And there were quite a few, the ones that said they wanted Chromebooks had very good things to say. And I kind of wish I would have planned better, but I don't have a laptop. I do most of my stuff on my desktop. But I would have liked to have shown you some of those responses. And we have them. We could, if you guys ever want to see them, but there's really good responses that came from some of the students, and they were really, really adamant that they would like to see you know, like there were even ones that pointed out they're more secure devices. You know, they're better for locking down and keeping students out. So even the students are pointing that out. So it's just one of those things to keep in mind, to consider. We really would love to have the opportunity to do something better for the kids.
So we just did an iPad upgrade this year, right? Was that?
It was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And what you upgraded were 2 generations behind.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, so we're not to the point where we have to do anything at this point. We are to the point with it being 2 generations behind. The longer we keep them, the less the buyback.
That's what I'm more interested in.
And so
That's
I
the-
was just curious, like, if we wanted to switch, what would the cost be? What would our buyback be versus the cost of the netbooks? And so that's what I asked them, just to pull some numbers, just because I was curious.
And with upgrading, it's gonna continue to, the value of what we have is gonna continue to drop. So we
Precisely.
don't have a regular,
Mhm.
process of upgrading these things.
Right.
We're always gonna be behind. Is this something that could potentially be done? Fall?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking for any action tonight, I just
Right,
wanted to
right.
bring it to your attention. Like I said, we've surveyed, the students, I've sent a couple surveys out to staff. It's kind of divided, I think some staff, said some of the very same things as students did, that, you know, it may help on state assessments because students have to write essays and they need the real world skills of being able to, you know, use a laptop and typing. But there was also, some hesitancy with, you know, they're used to the iPads. It's what they've it's what they're comfortable with.
Change on.
What does that look like for like our computer classes, especially at like elementary school level where they're being introduced to the iPads in the first place and typing skills, introductory to typing skills? What do our computer teachers think of a change?
Same thing, I mean, they, actually, we have just replaced within the last year, have keyboards that they use with the laptops to try to, incorporate keyboarding.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, that's a rotation, it's not a constant throughout their day.
I agree with Brandon. Like when I worked here in the high school, I thought the same thing. It's like our kids are leaving here knowing how to use an iPad. And it happened with my son. He had an iPad for 4 years because he started 9th grade when they introduced the iPads, 2011, 2012. And so he didn't have a laptop. So when he went to Ball State, first time having a laptop. So it took a minute, you know, to figure out. So I always thought that like here, we're not teaching them that. I kind of thought, like, my opinion is it's kind of okay for the elementary to have the iPads. As long as we kind of start them on this at middle school, you know, and up, then they'll get it. So if we have the iPads, they can all go to the elementary and we can still use them since we just kind of updated. It's kind of what I was thinking when I saw this.
Yeah.
I would think it's somewhere like in when the writing skills begin. What would probably maybe 5th grade, 4th or 5th grade, when they start bringing some of those writing skills in. 'Cause I would wonder what a transition from iPad to laptop or a computer device, how that might affect writing and the progress of that, if there's a transition there. Now, if they're using, you know, keyboards with their laptops, maybe that's,
Just in,
It's not an
just in
issue.
the technology class, but not like when they do assessments
they're
and
doing
things,
it.
they're
Yeah.
not. So they take iLearn starting in 3rd grade and have to have written responses.
I would think that would be beneficial just to look at, to consider, to say when would be the best time. And I don't disagree with you. I think earlier on you can get away with no computer and mom and dad have devices. Kids are more used to having devices because everybody has a device in front of them, a tablet-like device. I'd rather see them have computers. They're learning that skill.
Great, and typing is really I mean, I feel fortunate that I learned to type in high school. Yeah.
Me too, on a
hard way.
typewriter.
Yeah, with a regular typewriter. But I can type pretty well, and I
Straight to
do
those
on a
buttons.
daily basis, so I think it makes a difference for, a lot of careers.
Talking about buyback, are Chromebooks, are there new and used versions of those too, or is that just you have to have new devices?
So there are new and used. I honestly would not recommend getting used. And that's just because they're used so heavily anyway, with being one-to-one devices, that you're putting more of a chance of having to, repair them pretty early on. And also, the other thing about getting the newer ones is the one thing that you get with a Chromebook that you definitely do not get with any other device is your licensing. So for instance, to be able to do any like mobile device management at all, we have to pay a yearly fee or a yearly subscription fee for the iPads. Your Chromebooks, you pay a one-time, one and done. And I included that in the cost of the estimate. So it's one time, that is the life of that device. So yes, if that device breaks, you have to pay for another one, but that's cheaper than a yearly thing because you're not going to necessarily have every single device being broken every year. So that is one huge cost savings there. And also when you pay for that, that's your entire management. So that's, all the stuff that we have to pay for all these separate pieces for managing, it all goes into that one and done payment for that.
How long do you think they would last?
Typically, it's the life cycle, they had just increased it not that long ago. It was like 6 to 7 years is the life cycle of one. So once that life cycle is done, you should buy another one, especially because you outlive your license as well, so.
Centerville runs, I think, Chromebooks, so we could always get data from them on. There are a lot of.
Well, the wonderful thing is I'm the one that
we-
introduced
we-
Chromebooks at
Yeah,
Richmond, so.
we've done it before.
Yeah, Jen and I actually did it together, so this,
Like you're riding a bike here.
Do they have them all the way down to second grade?
all the way down to kindergarten. And the thing was, so second grade was, the reason I like the idea of stopping at second grade is just like she said, you start your read, you start all your real testing in third grade. Second grade gives you that opportunity to start that transition and then to be ready to start learning, like actually getting into it once you get to third grade. Kindergarten and first grade, I could see definitely keeping a cart of iPads for them because they're still learning the introduction. And even at that point in time, maybe it would be worth investing into keyboards for them to kind of have the key, like those attachment keyboards. They're not as ideal, but it would still kind of give them, the opportunity to maybe learn how to type their passwords, to start that process. Just give them one or two things at that level to start learning, and then really pushing the idea of actually getting acquainted with the keyboard at the second grade level.
I would very much be in support of you exploring more of this and yeah.
Do we know, are there a lot of grants out there to help with that kind of cost? Because I know like right now the technology is included into book fees. So would that be a cost to the families again through book fees, or is there something out there that could help us with that?
Well, since we don't charge book fees.
Okay. See, I'm used to paying book fees.
Right. Yeah, that's part of it. And that's why we have to look at, sustainability, and do we want to continue to sustain and spend money on iPads, and if that's the way we need to go, then, we need to consider that, from a budgetary standpoint. Chromebooks are less expensive, but it wasn't just about the money, it was also just looking at student needs. So there were some really good comments, in favor of iPads as well. I know with some of the math classes, like it just from the standpoint of being able to work math problems, able to use different colors and save the notes that way. So like I said, we've sent out a district survey, a student survey, and then we sent out surveys today to each individual, to the elementary, to the middle school, and to the high school, to get additional feedback. And like I said, we could share that with you and and just kind of weigh the pros and cons but I was curious too, just from a cost standpoint, and thank them for, working on that.
Are there any programs that we're currently using that switching to Chromebook would keep us from being able to utilize? Is that something that?
There's quite a few that actually perform better.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And that's just because as things progress, more and more of what they use as apps are moving to be browser-based. And when you're working with an iPad, it's in like, it considers it more to be like a cell phone. So how your cell phone operates differently on a website, same thing with an iPad. So some sites don't function as well because they're running on mobile view, whereas you would be running a full-blown browser at that point on a Chromebook. So, and I was actually, we were looking at that earlier, and there are quite a few that are now rebranding themselves as full-on like browser things. Something for some of the STEM kind of things that you in your Project Lead the Way and stuff like that are now moving to a browser-based model instead of trying to be in an app. So there's quite a few that may actually perform better on the Chromebook than they do on the iPad.
Well, thank you. Very insightful and good information, and I think sending out the data you guys come across after you finish all your surveys will be good for us.
And again, like if any of you have any, like she said, this isn't my first rodeo on that, and honestly, there's a wealth of information as to why they're beneficial, and I'd be more than happy to share whatever you guys need me to at any point in time. So just reach out to me, or you can talk an email, like send an email, let you know, like breakdown of things, and it's whatever you guys would like to know. I'd be more than happy to get to you. And with the pricing that you guys are looking at right now, I went through quite a few vendors, and that's the absolute best I found, both with the cost of the iPad or the Chromebook itself and the buyback for the iPads. Because most, seeing as these are 2 generations behind, most of them weren't even willing to give $100 per device for perfect ones. And that's them saying that's the best they'll do now. By March, it'll probably be less than that. This company had really, really good buyback, but he said the same thing. Like I had to reach out to him here before, because I just changed this, talked to the guy over the weekend, and he was like, okay, but I can't promise you anything. So, these prices are good now, but I'm not sure what they'll look like in a month to a year down the line with these devices. So,
And buyback aside, what's like the general cost of a new iPad?
right now, like your midline iPads are around $400 and something
Okay.
a piece.
And then a Chromebook?
So this Chromebook is more of one that, what I look for in a Chromebook is one that's got like, it's more ruggedized for a student to be able to draw and whatnot. These are $220 for the device itself. And these are 15-inch ones. So these are like decent size. You're not looking at some tiny screen.
A little bit bigger than your
Is this
MacBooks,
it?
actually. Yeah.
Oh,
That's,
this
yeah, bigger than the MacBooks, because those are only 13. So they're 15-inch. And the reason I did the cost at $250 is because your management for the life of it's $30 per device. So it kind of comes around at that $250 mark to do the entire thing for a 15-inch Chromebook.
Versus 400 for the iPad.
Is there, this is, when we make a switch like this, we're talking about switching all of our devices at once. What would it look like for us to create a cycle of replacement that would help us to utilize buyback, like higher rate of buyback? If we're rotating devices like every so many years, is there a benefit to that? You would.
So once you move to Chromebooks now,
Okay.
and this is just being totally transparent, Chromebooks do not retain any sort of value as far as like selling them back. They pretty much, at that point, you're just looking to start over. But again, it's kind of the same depending upon the timing and how new of iPad. So if you're buying the top of the line, most expensive iPads that are the newest generation every single time, you're going to be spending a premium, but you're going to get more money back as far as a buyback if you keep a cycle. But your cycle is going to have to be a lot shorter too. You're going to have to look at probably a 4-year cycle instead of that potential 7-year cycle. So you're kind of weighing it out there at that point in time.
It's like buying a car. Right, yeah. So better to keep the Chromebook for the 7 years of its life
Exactly.
than to try to sell it after 3 or 4. And, okay.
How old are our iPads now?
These are, so they are, for us, they're only a couple years old, but I'm trying to think. The year that we purchased them is the year they discontinued them, if that tells you anything. So we got a generation that's completely not even valid anymore. They don't even make the ones that have the old connector that one does anymore. They're all USB-C now. So that just shows you we're like.
That's my frustration at home is charging the thing because I don't have any of the chargers.
Right, right.
Agreed. For that alone. I would think. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Anyone have any other questions for us?
David, did you have anything else to share?
No, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I know each one of us has a little bit of a different aspect. I've worked with a lot of the student safety stuff the past few years, and there's been a pain with iPad trying to get a platform to work properly. So if you guys have questions about that, I'm your guy. All the third-party companies I work with always push Chromebooks on that they have full support for, so.
Speaking of, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It was just something I just popped in my head. There is currently a state bill that is probably going to get passed that we would be out of compliance with the iPads, because so far we've not been able to find a company that is able to integrate with an iPad in a way that we can do a sort of parental control on take-home devices. And as of right now, if this bill does get passed, they're saying that it's probably looking like it could be around July of this year that it would end up being passed, which means we would need to be in compliance probably pretty soon afterwards. Even the company that we currently have, we have LineWise for our filtering. They offer that, but it only works on Windows devices and Chromebooks. They do not have the ability to do it on iPad. And unfortunately, that's what we've run into with every single company we've looked at. They work well with Chromebooks, they work well with Windows devices. They just don't work with the
So
iPad.
what is the plan that you guys are suggesting? Like, are you wanting, like, if the answer is yes, we should do this for the fall? Like, are you wanting to get this going?
We will do whatever, because we could get it done. I mean, if we had the devices and we could get them here in time, we would get it done. Even if we had to work tirelessly, I've done that before. I ran the midnight oil to get Chromebooks set up and ready to go for school.
Is your suggestion that you want to get this to a vote soon? Is that what?
Our thing is that we don't know what the lead time is. So the further we put a decision off on this matter depends on the quantity that we need, when they can get it to us, and turn around on their buyback as well. We gotta work, that's a very thin timeline, especially getting closer and closer to summer. If they're a 4 to 6 month lead time on getting us devices, then it's not gonna be doable, I don't think.
Have you seen any lead times yet? Have you?
The problem is without having an answer, they're only gonna give you a quote. They won't know that until they put the order in, they get a PO, and they're ready to go. So
what's the next step? Next step, are you bringing us something, or do you want us to say something to you, to say, okay, bring it, like, what's happening?
So next steps, I would think, would be to look at those surveys that went out and see where we need to go. If we wanted to go middle school up, or if we want to go down to second grade up, we need to know numbers. That will weigh heavily on how many we need to order. So
you guys.
we really need to see that data to know which direction on quantity wise, what we need to be looking at.
So a lot of it right now would be dependent upon like your conversations with Mr. Brian, just that kind of where, because again, we're just wanting to make it work. So then once once I get that, all the vendors I've been working with, I can say either, hey, we're not gonna do it, we'll reach back out to you at a later time, or I will go immediately and be like, hey, you guys get started with whatever you can, give me lead times, give me this, because I wanna make sure that when we time it, it's more of a fluid thing. So we run through the end of the year, we get the iPads back, we can then work with the buyback company, come out, pick them up, and also be working on setting up those new Chromebooks as we're kind of going around with that, so.
And normally, I would have had a meeting like with the Teachers Association prior to the board meeting, but just with the circumstances this week, that meeting was canceled. So, I'd like time, just to talk to them. Like I said, I went sent out another survey today, but just to have some conversations with staff but we, and I let the staff know that we were gonna be talking about it tonight at the board meeting, just so everybody's aware. But we are looking at like if the bill passes, and we have to do something different, we just wanna be on the forefront of it and I wanted to get an idea of cost and
The survey.
and preferences and stuff.
The date when it was supposed to be, like the survey,
Yeah, I mean, we got responses, I think, the students,
The students were immediate.
I had like 109 responses in 30 seconds.
Like how long like how many days you're waiting, to
Yeah.
have all the surveys.
Yeah, no, I can, there's been multiple communication go out about it, and so the responses have been quick.
What's the reality look like of, you said, make an assessment of where that break would be from tablet to iPad if there is one? But what's the reality of you guys running two systems for the whole corporation?
We could, but it's doable. And especially like if we did it at a small level, we still do multiple systems, kind of run things as is.
Sure.
It's just, it would be nice to make it where, because another thing that you have to keep in mind is we are heavily, we heavily use Google Workspace. That's where we do everything. We've got our docs, our drives, everything lives there. You move everything to a Chromebook, we've already established ourselves. We're already running most things there. So you just put all your devices within that same environment as well. The majority of them. And then we could still keep, because I know there's not even any talk whatsoever about teacher devices, and they still use MacBooks. That still would use the same system that whatever remaining iPads we have would be using. So we would still have to maintain that, depending upon which route that goes. There's not been any talk about that, but who knows if we change that to do something different, Windows, Chrome, whatever. It's just, we would just have to manage multiple things, and it's something we could do. It's not that bad. It's just more of trying to figure out how to mitigate like high costs on trying to manage too many systems.
And I think that's what I'd be more interested in with the official proposal, is to know how do we efficiently as a corporation minimize the number of systems that we're running, frankly, for your guys' sake, because we value what you guys do, because we can't do it. So I want us to be making a decision that supports what your day-to-day workload is going to look like, as well as cost and that sort of thing as well. So if we have to make, of course, have the conversation with the teachers and everything like that, but lead this conversation. But I'd be interested to know what all that looks like for a best case scenario, so that if there even is like a 3-year plan to get us there, that we have to start to talk about what it might look like to say, hey, here's where we need to get, but it can't happen in 1 year. So what can we do to take step 1 this year, and then step 2 the next, and eventually get to that perfect scenario that would equip you guys to run all the systems that we need to run appropriately. I hate the idea of you guys having to juggle tablets for 2 grades and teachers on 1 system. And
I can assure you it would not be an issue.
well, I know that you
at all.
can. I don't question your ability to do that. Hear that? Like, I'm not at all being like, you guys can't do that. It's my desire for you to not have to do more work than what you need to do to let us help you, equip you with what you need to do to thrive. That's what we want to do.
The benefit of Chromebooks as well is that it integrates in, like you were saying, in our Google Workspace, which we already have. So because of all our accounts live there, things are a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Say a student does break a Chromebook, we can just hand them another one. As soon as they log into that with your Google account, all of their stuff comes from Google Drive. So it's literally just, it saves us time because we don't have to set up a whole new device,
Move all their stuff.
move all
over.
their stuff over. Everything is saved to the cloud through Google Drive. So that saves us in that aspect.
For me, I want to, I guess, communicate our confidence in what you guys do to make this decision. And I don't want us as a board to make a decision just because the numbers look right. I want you guys to have the freedom to present what you think is the best case scenario for you as employees of the corporation and for the students in the school as a whole. So please have freedom to do that.
Absolutely.
Let us
And-
look at those real numbers and.
What we could do is provide more information to Mrs. O'Brien about just a breakdown of how things work. But I mean, honestly, working in technology, especially when you work technology and education, you have to be able to work in multiple systems and be very efficient at it. So it's just, if we're already used to that. I mean, it was no different in any technology standing. You know, you have to be efficient in multiple, which is again why I'd like to see our students more efficient in multiple platforms instead of being more efficient in using a tablet. You know, because once you get out into that world, if you're going to be in technology, you're going to be lost to start off with. And I'd like to see them better equipped.
And it sounds like your suggestion, if I'm right, that your suggestion is do it from grade 2 up and do it all at one time.
That would
be easier on you.
It would be easier on us and it would be easier on the corporation just because we could go ahead and introduce that and start that learning process sooner than later. And we're going to get more money back from the iPads that we sell now. And we'd be able to get better Chromebooks at a lower cost than we could potentially get later on. So it would be more work, it would be more money right up front, but the cost savings is there and the ability to integrate more things into it is also there. So that gives us more freedom instead of having to get something that's insanely expensive that works well with an iPad. We can look at something, hey, is this a system that does multiple things at a lower cost that works on a Chromebook? And we can start exploring those things more too once we have that, you know, that the idea of whether or not we're going to even go that route or want to, or, you know, something like that.
And you did this with 3 times the amount of students.
Exactly.
And so this would be easy.
And we've done it twice, technically. Our first rodeo with Windows, we first started when they went.
That was our first, was going 1-to-1, all Windows. That was fun.
Then we switched to Chromebooks. And so we went through that process of switching from Windows to Chromebooks. So we know what that looks like.
And we all 3 still work together.
Right?
And you're right. Well, thank you,
Yes.
both of you. That
Yes,
was
thank you,
Very
guys.
nice to share and hear
Absolutely.
from you guys, and thank you for all you guys do, and hopefully like your new area and.
It's great. It is so nice.
So, you guys do a lot, so thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Right, so we'll continue to have conversations with students, with staff. I'll work with technology and we'll come up with a short-term and long-term plan.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we are going to move on to election of officers. So unless there are any objections, I will entertain a motion for the board officers remain as follows. Chantal Baker, President, Kim Claypool, Vice President, and Dan Van Dyne, Secretary.
I make a motion to.
Let me read this sentence again. Unless there are objections, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve keeping the slate the same as
I
last year.
So motion made by Ms. Claypool to keep election of officers the same. Chantal Baker as president, Kim Claypool as vice president, Dan Van Dyne as secretary. Seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Okay.
5-0. All right, so with that, the following appointments are recommended for board approval. That Ms. Tricia Thomas be appointed school treasurer for Northeastern Wayne Schools for the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. That Ms. Jen Roll, human resources coordinator, be appointed the public records officer for Northeastern Wayne Schools for the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. That the Board of School Trustees appoint the following persons as representatives for Northeastern Wayne Schools authorized to open and tabulate bids. Ms. Jennifer O'Brien, Superintendent. Ms. Tricia Thomas, School Treasurer. Mr. Steve Burge, Director of Transportation and Maintenance. Mr. David Camiso and Mr. Brandon Perkins, Technology Support Specialist. And that AJ Sickman of Boston, Beaver, Forest Cross, and Sickman be appointed school attorney for Northeastern Wayne Schools for the period January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. And I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
Same.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to recommend for the appointments and seconded by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor? Motion passed 5-0, or appointments passed, I should say. The following regular board meeting dates are recommended for the board approval. Regular board meetings will be January 21st, 2026, February 18th, 2026, March 18th, 2026, April 15th, 2026, May 20th, 2026, June 17th, 2026, July 15th, 2026, August 19th, 2026, September 16th, 2026, October 14th, 2026, November 18th, 2026, and December 16th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to accept the board meeting dates.
I second. Are those all the third? It's the same.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to approve all
Yeah.
regular board meetings.
October is the only one that's different, and that's because of fall break.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to approve regular board meetings for 2026, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Approval of all existing policies and guidelines. The approval of all existing policies and guidelines as posted on the Northeastern Wayne Schools website are recommended for board approval. I will need a motion for that as well.
I make a motion to approve all existing policies and guidelines.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Claypool to approve all existing policies and guidelines, seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor? 5-0. All right, so now we're moving on to Board of Finance. I do need a motion to close the Board of School Trustees meeting and convene as the Board of Finance.
So moved. Motion to convene
second.
into.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to close the Board of School Trustees meeting and convene as Board of Finance, seconded by Ms. Claypool. Moving on through the Board of Finance, I do need a motion to elect the school board president and secretary as the president and secretary of the Board of Finance.
I'll make a motion to approve the school board president and secretary as the president and secretary of the Board of Finance.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to elect the school board president and secretary as the president and secretary of the Board of Finance. Seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Jennifer O'Brien will present the investment summary report, the investment income policy, and the financial report for 2025.
Okay.
Attached for your review, this is just part of the yearly process. You have the investment summary report. Also a review of the investment policy. There's no change to the policy other than just the yearly review. Also, I have attached the financial report for 2025. The link is there as well. You can see that information. And it's the school corporation fiscal indicators. For time's sake, I know we have an executive session tonight. I'll give you some, you can take time, and then if you have any questions on that, it's also on the website for the public as well. So if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
There are no questions. I would need a motion to accept the reports and policy as presented.
Motion to accept the investment report, investment income policy, and the financial report.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to accept the investment summary report, review of investment income, and financial report for 2025. Seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Now I would need a motion to close the Board of Finance meeting and reconvene as the Board of School Trustees.
Motion closed.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne to close the Board of Finance meeting and to reconvene as the Board of School Trustees. Seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor? 5-0. Okay, next up is our consent items. So we were all shared the approval and signing of the regular board meeting or regular board meeting minutes for 12/17, the approval of claims, cancellation of warrants, transfer tuition applications, fundraisers, field trip, out-of-state field trips, and then personnel, as well as it's shared on our website. Was there any questions on any of the consent items, or did Ms. O'Brien have anything to share with those?
Is Jason,
No, please.
is Jason Allen a teacher or is he a softball coach?
Softball coach.
Okay.
He coaches the Flash travel team. He started that. I think he launched that organization in Fountain City area. It has invested in a lot of our Northeastern girls for a couple years in early age, so it's kind of been a great feeder program for Northeastern softball. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Good.
I also coach for Flash, so I run into him quite a bit. I had a lot of questions when he was working, so yeah.
That's good to hear.
Other questions on consent items?
Page 5 of the last month's agenda, the minutes, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Miss Claypool might like an edit.
I did get that fixed. I did do that.
Everything
I
says
did
Mr.
not
Claypool.
mean to do that. But S did not join on that copy and paste very well.
I just looked at it, I didn't notice that.
She got it at the very bottom.
It was fixed and then I attached the new one. Thank you so much for calling out my flaws.
Well, I just thought, maybe
Thanks for
later
having my
in
back.
the history of the decisions made at Northeastern School Corporation.
And Claypool made all the decisions.
Any others? Jen, did you have anything? No? Okay. So if there are no other comments on the consent item, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we accept the consent items.
Motion made by Ms. Smith to approve the consent items, seconded by Ms. Bartram. All in favor? 5-0. 5-0. We are now gonna move on to new business, and I will let Ms. O'Brien speak on RAS 32.
This is just the, excuse me, yearly renewal for RAS 32, which includes Monroe Central, Randolph Eastern, and Randolph Central School Corporations, as well as Northeastern. And this is just combining together for career tech ed, and currently for us it's welding. We do have students that travel there for welding. So at this time, I ask the board for approval of the RAS 32 agreement for shared CTE pathways with participating school districts for 26-27.
I make a motion to approve the RAS 32 agreement.
Motion made by Ms. Claypool to approve the RAS 32 agreement, seconded by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, policy review and update. Before we go through all of them, because it's first reading, are there any conversations that we would like to continue for a second reading? Or do we feel,
Well, they're not attached on here.
no?
She sent
Yeah,
it in to me.
okay. So on a lot of them, there are no, like you have options and there's nothing's checked on the options.
That's what I was gonna ask. They're not checked.
So they're not like completed yet.
Well, has the discussion happened to?
Yeah, they're in the
As to which,
draft mode.
as to which option we would like to see? Okay. I thought that's what we wanted to see as part of our conversation, was what option we wanted that to be reflected. So it was 5610 was the policy that gave 3.
I think all of them except one or two had options.
Have options.
Have
Yeah.
options that are changing.
No, that just were blank. It didn't have a check in any of them.
D16.
So where can I see them?
5610, it was in an email that.
Yeah, they weren't-
I was able to open mine, like when Angie said she couldn't, I was able to open.
For a while, wasn't it? I didn't have one.
Yeah, if you're not logged, if you're just on the
Yeah.
public site, if you're not logged into Board Docs, you don't see the
I was
attachments.
logged in on mine and I did
Where did you
notice
go?
when you emailed, I tried to open them myself and for some reason it was coming up an error message out of nowhere. So I emailed them out as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of like spaces, but then nothing is checked.
So then that password on the top doesn't log us in.
You should, would you change both of that?
So then we'll be.
Yeah, because normally when we're looking at the policies, the last couple that have had checked, they've already been checked.
Right.
Yeah, usually it's done kind of.
Yeah, it's done. like-
So I would say move to second reading.
Is everybody okay with moving to second reading?
Yes.
We need to do it individually.
No, you can open all together.
Do we want to have conversation with the options?
Is there any particular one or all of them?
I mean, if you were not ready for the discussion. we
Yeah,
can move to second.
let's go to
I just-
second reading.
Okay, I did have a question on, how does the change in several of them that is that students who may not be suspended or expelled based on regular lack of attendance. Sonina State still have a no hold back policy that we, like, where we don't hold students back grades? No. Okay. So as a student who doesn't attend school, how's that? How do we typically handle a kid who is negligent in attendance? Let me voice this all differently.
If it's impacting their academics.
Yeah, I've seen a trend in Indiana schools that because we see that holding a kid back doesn't really help the ongoing development, the long-term development and growth of a kid. But if they don't attend school, they also don't learn the things that they should be learning, which doesn't set them up for success at later grades either, and just creates a frustration for education as they go forward. How do we approach, what's our approach to that? If this is put into policy that we don't keep a kid out who's not putting in the effort to show up, what does that look like for us?
It's really the two separate things. If you're to the point where you would be considered, that retention would be considered, you're probably also at the point where you're being recommended to probation. And so those are just ongoing conversations and what that looks like, and you know, it really just depending on each kid.
Okay. As long as we don't put into policy, I don't want to put into policy something that might tie your hands or any of our teachers' hands for how we handle a student who's not showing up. And all of this was really kind of based on what I thought was an Indiana state policy for not holding kids back. So I didn't want to put something into policy that would force you guys to move a kid forward or when they're really not prepared to do so, which in my opinion does not set a kid up for excellence in education moving forward, so.
Third grade is the only grade that they put back in place that if you don't pass the IRE 3, that you could be held back.
Okay.
So then, we need to.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Move the second reading.
I was gonna do it on I had mine, but I don't have a password saved on this computer. It's in my phone.
Since we are moving to a second reading, I will need a motion to move these to second reading.
I'll make a motion to read it. Read one of them for policy 5117, policy 5600, policy 5605, policies 5610, policy 5611, and policy 5771 to second reading.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to move the policy reviews and updates of 5517, 5600, 5605, 5610, 5611, and 5771 to a second reading, seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, next up is unfinished business. We have none. Board comments. Think I have anything? I think,
Thank you. Send it all over.
yeah, so,
It's a reiteration of
yeah.
everything that you said at the
Yeah,
beginning.
so I'm listening to everything today. I feel like it just shows how special Northeastern really is. So it's really meant a lot hearing all this stuff tonight. So, any employee comments? You know you have one. Okay. All right. If no one has any comments, I would take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Gotta talk fast.
Motion made by Ms. Bartram to adjourn, seconded by Ms. Smith. All in favor? We are adjourned.
If you check the tape, I think I beat Mrs. Smith.
I'm sorry. I need you to do a double check on that.